Hello, everybody. This is Joshua, and this is Dynamic Discussions. Thank you for listening today. This is our SummerSlam prediction show. We're extremely excited about it. I have Ty on my right, and special guest along with us this evening is Randy. They're going to be weighing in on who they think is going to win and take home the titles for SummerSlam 2016. We're going to get right into it. We have the war against Viperville and Suplex City. Randy Orton coming off of injury, of course, just recently, and Brock Lesnar coming back from the UFC and the doping violations with UFC. Randy, what do you think?
Well, this is 15 years in the making. We finally get to see Lesnar and Orton face off in the squared circle for the first time. It's incredible to think about. Lead up to this match is intensified over the past few weeks, should I say, especially with Orton making a comment about Lesnar testing positive for doping in the UFC in his match with Mark Hunt. He also ran into a segment with Lesnar and Heyman where he ran in and put an RKO on Lesnar during a Raw show, followed by Lesnar making an appearance on SmackDown the following night, interfering in between Orton and Fandango, hitting him with an F5 in retaliation. Regardless of what happens in this match, I think it's a feud which will likely extend past SummerSlam, even though they belong to opposite brands. My pick here is Orton, though, because Orton has way more to gain from a win after being out for so long with a shoulder injury than Lesnar does, but expect a pretty brutal match.
Okay. Ty, what do you think?
Well, just to kind of follow up on what Randy was saying, it is crazy to think that they went so long without battling each other. It's kind of like what happened in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, I think they were both in the promotion for about a decade, and they only had one match. Like, how do you waste two of your biggest draws and you never have them one-on-one? But unfortunately, I don't think this match is going to live up to the hype too terribly much. Just Orton coming back from injury and Lesnar just kind of existing quarter time, I suppose, on the roster. But I think Orton's going to win just because, like Randy said, he needs the momentum a little bit more, and Lesnar's probably going to disappear for a few months to do whatever the hell he does in between his appearances.
Cool, and I'm happy to hear you guys say that because I'm a huge Randy Orton fan, so hopefully it goes that way.
Yeah, expect him to go to Suplex City quite a few times, though.
We'll see what happens, but the second match that we have for you guys is going to be Enzo and Cass versus Owens and Jericho, or Jericho. Ty, I'm going to start with you on this one.
This match has arguably three of the best talkers in the entire business right now. Kind of feel bad for Cass. But I'm thinking Owens and Jericho are going to come out with the win, mostly just for advanced booking. I feel like these two working together is just gold. They play off each other perfectly. I don't know if it's because they're both Canadian or what. But I think they come out with the win just so they can kind of go into a mini feud with Enzo and Cass, or just bolster the tag division to a certain degree. Enzo and Cass have a ton of momentum already, so I don't think another win is going to propel them too much further up the roster.
Okay. Randy, you feel the opposite of that, right?
I do. I actually have Enzo and Cass winning this one, just purely for the fact that I think it's not going to last very long for Jericho and KO as a tag team. We saw what happened when Jericho teamed up with AJ Styles, how long that lasted. Mm-hmm. I think this is just going to progress into a Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens feud after SummerSlam, and Enzo and Cass will move on to their next feud.
Kind of hoping that if they do end up going into a feud with those two, that it's Owens putting his beard on the line and Jericho putting his ever-growing scarf collection on the line, because it's going to start getting really out of control soon. Also, how many times do you think Enzo is going to be used as a foreign object by Cass in the match?
I'm gonna go with 4.
High, I like it. I'm gonna go Price is Right on you, 4.5.
Yeah, I think bigger show, then they have to use them as a prop more often.
I can see that.
I'm saying 6. One other match that I wanted to touch on while we're in this also, Sheamus and Cesaro. What do you guys think, Randy?
Does anyone even care? We're in a best of 7 series now, but Cesaro has already taken 2 of these matches, so what is that, preseason, or are we talking about a best of 9 now? I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, and I don't think anyone cares. Everyone's tired of it, but just for the hell of it, I'm going to go Sheamus for the early lead.
It's funny because I remember a few years ago we were watching Sheamus and Christian in like a best of 100 million series. So it seems like they finally just found that match, or that gimmick for Sheamus. He's the best of 7 fighter. Like, you get into a fight with him, you don't get rid of him until you get through a best of 7 series.
Yeah, it seems like every feud that he's in, I feel like every time I see him, he's wrestling the same guy. And it goes on and on and on for months. That being said, who are you taking in that match?
I'm going to go Sheamus also, just because they'll probably set Cesaro up to have some kind of insane comeback in the best of 7 series.
Okay.
Exactly.
So the fourth match we're covering here is going to be Apollo Crews versus The Miz. I am excited that The Miz has been wrestling a little bit more as of late, but I also really like Apollo Crews. Ty, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think, can we start by pointing out how lackluster the Intercontinental Championship belt is anymore? I mean, Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, it used to be the belt WWE would give to the next big guy, and it just feels like a throwaway belt. Nothing against The Miz, he's killing it as a heel right now, but this whole match, it doesn't feel like there's any gravitas. Like, what do you think, Randy?
I completely agree. The Intercontinental matches, back in the late 80s, early 90s, were matches that I really, really looked forward to. Probably one of the best I've ever seen was Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect in SummerSlam 92, which pretty much put Bret Hart on the map as a singles competitor. But it's almost to the point where the U.S. title is way more prestigious than the IC belt. And it's really a shame, but it's just been an incredibly weak build-up for this match, and then the horrible booking for Apollo Crews continues. It's so bad I don't really give Crews much of a shot here. There are plenty of better candidates out there to take that title off of Miz and Apollo Crews, just purely based on booking. Crews is an incredible talent in the ring, but he really lacks the believable mic skills to carry the title and provide it as much credibility as The Miz does. Not to say that Miz is one of the great IC champions, though. So ultimately, I have The Miz.
Yeah, I'm going with The Miz also. I agree with the anticlimactic build. I'm really worried that Apollo is going to get himself Nevilled, coming up from NXT being a big roster acquisition only to fall into mediocrity. I think Apollo Crews has seen his future, and his future is Neville, hopefully with no broken ankles. So
Crews is just way too many smiles. He's just happy to be there, and they really need to figure out a different route for Crews.
Next one is a huge one. It's for the U.S. title belt. It's Rusev versus Roman Reigns. Myself, I don't really care for Rusev. I don't really care for Reigns either. But let's see what the experts have to say. Randy, how you feeling?
In my opinion, this is the easiest pick of the night. Reigns has recently been relegated to a less than top title contender for the time being, after being suspended 30 days for violating the WWE's wellness policy and losing the triple threat match at Battleground. Seems like an appropriate spot for Reigns, as the WWE Universe could use a break from the former Shield members' constant feuding. My pick, Reigns win, makes perfect sense to me here. It's able to keep him strong and still a top name to push, all the while having other top level guys in the main event. And it's great to spread out the SummerSlam card and keep more matches interesting. Rusev is also becoming stale as U.S. champ, and Reigns is the perfect guy to push the title itself and make it fresh and interesting again. I think all signs point to a Reigns win at SummerSlam. However, is it going to be by DQ or by pinfall? That's the main question, in my opinion.
that's where I'm standing on it too. More so that I feel like Reigns is going to stay in the doghouse for a little bit longer, and if they take the belt off Rusev at this point, I feel like they're killing a lot of his momentum, just like they did. I believe it was last year's WrestleMania where he looked strong against Cena. They went into WrestleMania and he lost to Cena, which led to actually an amazing U.S. Championship run with Cena doing his nightly challenges on a regular basis. But I just don't think that Reigns is worthy enough for the belt just yet. I think he's going to end up with it in the next month or so, just not at the SummerSlam. So either wins by DQ or Reigns actually gets the clean pin somehow.
I thought it was really weird that they pretty much gave this match away on Monday Night Raw, where Rusev wanted to defend the honor of Lana, but he went ahead and lost. If he couldn't do it at Raw, I mean, what is he going to do for the title on Sunday?
That's why I think he's going to get himself DQ'd. Like, he's just going to Hulk out, beat the shit out of Reigns, and then walk out with his lady and the belt, only to lose both at a later date, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I guess we will see. But the next match is the Club versus the New Day. The New Day, of course, the tag team champions. This is the belt or a match for the belt, rather. In my personal opinion, I'm picking the Club. That's probably just because I like them, but I also have started to like the New Day a little bit more. But I'm going the Club on this one. Randy, what do you think?
I really, really want to pick Gallows and Anderson, but I'm going to hold off. I'm going to go with New Day. The New Day, they're going to hit the 1 year mark for holding the tag team titles on Monday night, so that could make things interesting for this match. Are we going to see a huge New Day party celebrating 1 year of being the top team in WWE, or will we see them fall 1 day short to Gallows and Anderson, spoiling their plans? I'm thinking it's the former, to acquire the 1 year feat. However, they will lose them on Monday to the Club, or maybe even see a challenge set forth from someone else. It would be kind of depressing to see Gallows and Anderson get their shots and just ultimately falter, since they should have been booked as monsters since their debut. But without Big E there, this could go either way, to be honest, but I'm going to reluctantly pick the New Day.
I think I'm going to go with the Doctors Club. They are finally getting the booking that they deserve. They're getting pushed properly. They're not somebody's henchmen right now, at least, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. But I think that their whole "we're going to break your balls and put them in mason jars" gimmick is just killing it right now. If they lose to New Day, Big E's balls died for nothing, I'm afraid. So hopefully they end up taking the belts and they start a gimmick where they open up a hall of mason jars full of all the testicles of the tag teams they've vanquished.
You're making me testy.
I know it's a ballsy pick.
Alright guys, that is the end of part 1 of our SummerSlam prediction show. Please listen to part 2. We are going to be covering the 3 main belts in WWE, Cena and Styles. We are just getting started.